people, good morning, and let's get cracking with our Tuesday video for this week. So, Spellbound, we talked about yesterday. We'll go straight on to fractions today. And you've got work just from the Intermath pages. A bit trickier today, so we'll maybe work through some of these together, okay? Right, now, yesterday, hopefully, you worked on the top part of the page where you were dividing a whole shape, one whole square, one whole circle, one whole rectangle, into fractions, eighths, thirds, whatever it might be, okay? A bit like if we had one whole pizza, we said, right, cut that up into quarters, or another one whole pizza. Cut that whole one up into tenths, so you know you'd have to cut 10 equal parts. Okay, so sometimes we find a fraction of a whole one. Okay, that's quite normal. But we're not always finding fractions of whole ones, are we? Let's imagine the whole class are in together and say, right, half of you are going with Janne and half of you are going with me. Doesn't mean we cut each of you in half, does it? Give one half of you to Janne and I keep the other half. So we know that we can also find fractions of a group, okay? We might call that finding the fraction of a quantity, okay? Finding the fraction of a set, finding the fraction of a group. So it's that kind of idea. I have a packet of biscuits, let's say open them up, tip them out, and there are 12 biscuits. So there's 12 in that group, and I might say, right, you have half, I'll have half. So we then have to work out half of 12, don't we? Okay, and you're doing this before when we did halves, half of 20, half of 14, half of 30, you were finding the fraction of a quantity. So it's not brand new, but maybe this is a step forward. Okay, so let's have a little look here. I hope you can see. So the first question here says, find a quarter of these apples. Yeah? Okay, and it's a bit like you had a question right at the beginning that you all did really, really well. The question about find a quarter of the sharpeners and a quarter of the pencil cases. You did, everybody got that right, that I've looked at anyway. So that's not brand new. Find a quarter of these apples. Okay, so the way they're set out for a start is going to help us. The first thing I suggest you do is to think, if you're going to find a quarter, how many equal size groups, how many parts we're making. So if we're finding quarters, then we've got to make 4 equal groups, haven't we? Okay, 4 equal groups. So how could I split these apples up to make 4 equal groups? Well, I can kind of see it. I've got 4 equal groups there. A top, a next, a next, and a bottom. I've made 4 equal groups, haven't I? Okay, so I found a quarter of 8 apples. A quarter of 8 apples is a group of 2. So down the bottom, we've got in the example, a quarter of 8, a quarter of these 8 apples means you get 2 apples. A quarter of 8 is 2. Also, remember, we talked about a quarter being a half of a half, yeah? A half of 8 is 4, and half of 4 is 2. A quarter of 8 is 2, okay? And then as part of kind of number family as well, they've reminded us that if we've got 8 and we divide it up into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, so this is starting to use our number families as well. Let's have a little look at the next one. You can always pause this and fill things in as you go along if you'd like to, okay? We'll play this again once you've got your sheet out. So now we've got some pairs. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 pairs, and this time I've got to find 1/3. Now, it's not quarters, it's thirds here. So how many equal groups do I need to make if I'm making, I haven't got it from yesterday, if I'm making thirds? Thirds, you think of what it looks like. A third has got a denominator of 3, hasn't it? So I want to make 3 equal groups. 3 equal groups. Now, as luck might have it, I can see again, I can make 3 equal groups. I've got 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. I've made 3 equal groups. A top group, a middle group, a bottom group. And they're all the same size. They have to be the same size, don't they, these groups, because it's fractions. And how many have I got in a group? I've actually got 3 pairs, as in the fruit, 3 fruits in my group. Okay, a third. So a third of what? How many pairs did we have together? Altogether we had 9, yeah? So a third of 9 is 3. They actually gave us the answer there. Okay, now let's have a little look at the example. What are they talking about us doing? They're saying it's the same as taking your whole group. Now we had 9 in our whole group, dividing it into 3 groups. We knew we had to make 3 groups because we're dividing it into thirds. And then when we split all that up, each group had 3 in it. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. So if we had those pairs and we said, Luca, you can have a third of those, he would get 3 pairs. Yeah? Okay. Right, the next one, find a fifth. Find a fifth. So how many equal groups? It's not a half, so it's not 2 equal groups. It's not thirds, it's not 3 equal groups. It's not quarters, it's not 4 equal groups, it's fifths, isn't it? So that is a denominator of 5, which means we've got to make 5 equal groups. Okay, now again, they've laid it out for us in such a way that we've actually got 5 rows, haven't we? So we can easily make 5 equal groups by using rows again. Each row is an equal size group, and I've got 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now how many oranges have I got in each group? 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, so I had 15 oranges. I've divided them up into 5 equal groups, and each group holds 3 oranges. So each of these groups is 1/5 of the quantity. And in this case, because we started off with 15, 1/5 of 15 gives us 3. So again, we've got space to write that out down the bottom there. What was the fraction? This time we were finding 1/5, a fifth. 1/5 of how many? Well, together we have 15. 1/5 of 15. And how many is there in 1/5 of 15? That's 1/5 of 15, that group there. It's got 3 oranges in it. Yeah, so 1/5 of 15 is 3. Okay, the division underneath, you always start off with your big number, don't you? So you start off with the whole group. The whole group has got 15 in it. Yeah, we were dividing it into 5 equal groups. And when we did that, we found that we got an answer of 3 oranges in each group. So 15 divided by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gives us 3. Okay, so we have 15 kids in the class and we wanted to make 5 groups. We could do that and we'd have 3 children in each group. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 1/5 of 15 is 3. Okay, it's quite hard, so you play that as many times as you want to. Okay, now the next page is all the same kind of thing, but the way they've set it out, I remember with previous classes, can be sometimes a little bit confusing. So again, we'll just look at it together. I'll try not to give you all the answers, but we'll have a quick look at it together. So this time we've got a group of balloons, okay? And at the moment they're all white, and it tells you colour a quarter of these 12 balloons in red. Okay, now that doesn't mean colour a little quarter of each one. It means you've got to work out what a quarter of 12 is and how many balloons that would be. Okay, if we said colour half of them in red, you probably think, okay, half of 12 is 6. You colour 6 of them in red, but it's not half, it's quarter. Remember, a quarter is half of a half. That will help you. So what are we going to do? We've got to make 4 equal groups. So in other words, we're taking our 12 balloons and we're don't know if you can see that. Maybe I should write it up here. And hopefully you'll have the book as well, so you can see. I'm going to write it kind of down here. It's got nothing to do with those trees. We're going to do that one together in a minute. So the 12 balloons divided into 4 equal groups, and then we need to know how many balloons there would be in one of those 4 equal groups, okay? Because 1 out of 4 equal groups is a quarter. Now, some of you will just know that, okay? But some of you might not, and you might need to use your number families. 2 divisions and 2 multiplies in a number family. So at the moment we've got 2 numbers. We need the 3rd number. Let's maybe use a multiplication. Now, 12 is always got to be the biggest number at the beginning of a division calculation. But if this is the biggest number of that family, it's going to come as the answer when we do a multiplication. Okay, so something times something equals 12. We know one of our other numbers is 4. So that's the missing number. Maybe you can work it out now. 4 times what is 12? Or, if you prefer, I'll do it down here, what times 4 is 12? And hopefully, a lot of you have already got to the answer there, that you can say the missing number is 3. Okay? So, we've used our number family to help us if we need to. Going back to the balloons, we wanted to find a quarter of 12. Okay, we needed to divide 12 into 4 equal groups, and we've got the answer of 3. So that means 3 of those balloons, any 3, it doesn't have to be the first 3, any 3 would be a quarter of 12. Okay, now the one about the sheep, you're going to work that one out on your own. You've got 12 sheep, you've got to colour in a third of them. I don't know what colour you're going to make their fleeces. You're going to make green sheep or something, that would be fun. But this time you're not making a quarter of the group, you're making a third of the group. So you've got to make 3 equal groups. That does not necessarily mean colour in 3 sheep. So don't just colour in 3 sheep and think you've done it. Okay, because that may not be the right answer. You have to take your 12 sheep and divide it into 3 equal groups. So 3 equal groups, so you know how many sheep there are in each group. Okay, and again, you might be able to use the number families to help you. Okay, flowers. Okay, now on this one, there's a missing number. We've just got to sort it out together. So there are flowers. Well, we can count them and find out what the missing number is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 flowers, so that's easy enough to fill in. There are 10 flowers. Put a circle around a fifth of them. Okay, so look at that denominator. The denominator is 5. That does not mean colour in 5 flowers. Because just think, if you, not all colour, put a circle around them. If you put a circle around 5 of those flowers, you've actually put a circle around half of that group, haven't you? And it doesn't say circle half of them, it says circle a fifth of them. So this time you've got the 10 flowers. Where can I go? I can just about see here. You've got your 10 flowers, yeah? And this time you've got to split them up, you've got to divide them up to make 5 equal groups, okay? And that will give you the amount of flowers, I nearly wrote the answer in then, the amount of flowers that you need to circle up, okay? And again, if that answer doesn't come to you straight away, use your number families, okay? Let me think. There's my big number at the beginning of the division. So in a multiplication, it's going to come at the end. I've got one of my numbers, 5. So what is it? Something times 5 is 10. Okay, that missing number from the family is the same as the missing number at the end of this. That's going to tell me how many flowers are in my group. Okay, again, if I'm talking too quickly, play each one bit by bit. Okay, now the trees, I've drawn them up here, okay, just to do one together. There are how many trees? So I counted them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, I have drawn the right amount. So you've got 15 trees, okay? We've got to circle a third of those trees, haven't we? Okay, doesn't mean circle 3 just because there's a 3 on the denominator. It does not mean that. Not circle 3, circle 1/3 of the whole group. So in other words, I've got to split these trees up into 3 equal groups. You can imagine if sorry about my writing there, if I just put a circle around 3 of them, by no means is that one of 3 equal groups, is it? Okay, that's too small, that group there. So I've got to take my 12, no, it wasn't 12, was it? 15 trees, I beg your pardon. 15 trees and divide into 3 equal groups. Okay, and then I can put a circle around the right amount. Okay? Again, if I'm not sure, maybe I know, maybe I don't. Let me have a look. Let's use my number family. Let's get 15 on the end for a multiplication. There's another number from the family, 3. 3 times what is 15? Oh, I know that. 3 times 5 is 15. Yeah? Okay, 3 times 5 is 15. So that means my missing number from my original question, I've got the 15, I've got the 3, it was 5. 5 trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I try it out, let's see if that works. I reckon it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It works. Hurrah! So I have 15 trees. Okay, I needed to make 3 groups, 3 equal groups. 1, 2, 3. There we have 15 trees divided into 3 equal groups, and in each group there are 5 trees. Okay, so what do I know there? I know that 1/3 of 15 is 5. Yeah, a third. There's a third, there's another third, there's the other third of 15 altogether is 5. Okay, right. For those people who don't find any of that tricky, I'm not going to talk you through the cows. You just go ahead and do it. If there is anybody that's thinking, oh my gosh, once you've done all this and listened to the video, maybe again and again with the work, you're still struggling, just do your best with the cows, or if you really have to, just leave it. Okay? Right. And we'll come back to that as well. We're going to do more of that on the next day, and we're going to talk about it in our meeting on Wednesday. Okay? It is a bit tricky at times, but some of you won't find it tricky. Right. Most people can now go. The only person I want to hang on for a moment is Begum, because she, for whatever reason, missed out on the English meeting today, and I'm just going to very quickly show her what she missed. Okay? So everybody else apart from Begum, see you next time. I'll see you at your meeting on Wednesday. Okay, no video tomorrow because of our meetings. Bye. Okay. Right, Begum. What we did this morning, first of all, sorry, I'm just looking down at this tablet because I'm going to try and show you on here. That's not it. What we looked at. No, that's it. That's it. Okay, so first of all, we just talked about Alex's firework because Alex had done a really good firework list of ingredients and also step-by-step instructions. I've noticed that you've done a super list of ingredients. I love it, it's all glittery and colourful, sparkly. I've not yet had your instructions, so maybe sometime in the next few days that might arrive, I hope. Okay, so we talked about Alex as one of those as a good example, and then we all took parts like we did before of reading one of the play script scenes from The Firework Maker's Daughter, and it was the scene of the firework competition, okay, of the New Year Festival firework competition. So Leela and Chulak are there. In this version, Chulak is also there at the firework competition. The king arrives, and in their version, he actually has Lal Chand with him, the dad all chained up. and announces the importance of the firework competition, and that Lal Chand will be executed, will have his head chopped off if Leela doesn't win the competition. And he explains that the competition is going to be judged by him, but also by something called a clapometer, which is a bit of an imaginary machine that detects how much clapping each display is getting from the crowd. So it starts with first of all Herr Pufenflasche, the German firework maker, gives his performance, okay, and then Colonel Sparkington from America shows his firework performance, and then it's Leela, okay, and Leela does really well, everything, but at first there's a bit of a hiccup, then everything's fine, and she gets the biggest applause. Even Herr Pufenflasche and Colonel Sparkington think that she should have won, and thank goodness the king, after a bit of humming and hawing, declares her the winner, and Lal Chand goes free. Okay, so we got up to that point. It's not the very end of the story yet. We got up to that point in the play version, and we were looking, maybe you can see this okay. Okay, so this is on my iPad, but it's what we were reading. In fact, we don't want Rambashi, do we? Excuse me. Thank you for being, yeah, okay. So for instance, here we've got the king saying, "We are ready for the final 3 displays. There is a prize of a gold cup and 1,000 gold coins. The audience's applause will decide the winner." And then a bit further down, we've got the king saying, "Dr. Pufenflasch of Germany, your display, please." And Dr. Pufenflasch comes up and he says, "Your Excellency, it is my great pleasure to introduce my display entitled Bombarden-Sparkenpumpe." We were all laughing together about this strange long word here. Okay, so, and then he goes on to show his display. Okay, I'm sorry, you've probably got a little bit of reflection in there, but you can see. But what we did as well is we reminded ourselves that when a play script is set out, it's not like a story, is it? You've got the characters down the side, you've got their names to show who's speaking. There are no speech bubbles, there are no speech marks, just the words of what the speaker says next to their name. Then obviously we reminded ourselves about stage directions, so the way in which the playwright might want the actor to say something or act. So here we've got the king is clearly impressed. Dr. Pufenflasche takes a bow. So they're not character words, they're stage directions. Okay, so we reminded ourselves of this. And then we noticed, oh, Signor Scorcini's display is missing. In the play version, they don't include Signor Scorcini's firework display. So your job for tomorrow is to write a script, or let's say the missing part, the part in this scene where the king would have called upon Signor Scorcini of Naples to do his firework display. Okay, so I'm expecting you to do probably about a page of script writing, about that long, okay, with the characters' names as they speak down the side, the words that they say, and any stage directions. You were brilliant at this when we did this in class with other situations, so you should find it quite straightforward, Begum. It's just a good reminder for us, okay? And I suggested you could start with the line where the king speaks and says, "Signor Scorcini of Naples, your display, please." Okay, and then you can have Signor Scorcini. "Buongiorno, everybody, here is my," and whatever words you're expecting to say. And then I guess as well, you might have Leela and Chulak speaking in the background about what they think about his firework. Maybe what does the king say? Maybe what does Colonel Sparkington have to say about Signor Scorcini's display? You could do some really good stage directions about what Signor Scorcini does to light his firework, for example. Okay, on your tasks for tomorrow, I have sent a photographs of the story version of that part from the actual book. Okay, so the story version, so it's not written like a play, but it's the part about Signor Scorcini's firework. And I've also put a photograph of, I think it's this page or maybe the one next to it, just to remind you what a script looks like. So they are attached to your tasks. Okay, so I hope you feel a little bit more confident with that. You can always send me messages in the chat if there's something you don't understand. Okay, right, Begum, have a good day, and I'll speak to you as well anyway during our meeting on Wednesday. Okay, bye.